Hello everyone, welcome back to GGN. This is part 3 for this news report today. It's Thursday, May 9th, 2013. I'm Darko. My website is ggnonline.com, and on YouTube my channels are ddarko2012 and ddarko2013. I usually have the links in there, and they should be posted, if not today, then tomorrow, in YouTube's video description. So, the U.S. is involved militarily, directly, or advising in 74 countries. So we're talking about Afghanistan, we got Iraq, Libya. They never actually leave. While combat troops have been withdrawn from Iraq, and Afghan war now involves less U.S. troops all the time. The U.S. is still involved in either fighting or helping some struggle thought to be useful in the war on terror, which includes drone bombing civilians or innocents. Says the war on terror is used as a justification to project U.S. power and develop relationships with numbers of national military forces throughout the globe. It then goes on down here talking about how under the Obama regime they've embraced targeted assassinations and expanded drone attacks and special forces far beyond those of the Bush era. So is that better? I don't think so. The EU's out-of-control intelligence services that don't exist. Brussels, the center of gravity of the European Union, and NATO headquarters, not only teams with lobbyists, diplomats, military personnel, bureaucrats, politicians, Americans, and other weird characters from around the world, but also with spies. It says Brussels is one of the largest spy capitals in the world. He guesstimated that there would be several hundred plying their trade at any one time, chasing after a broody array of topics from trade issues to security policies. That was said by the head of the Belgian State Security Services. And you're going to laugh, he said he was in the CIA. It says here from Reuters, one childhood friend said in a music session with Castro, who was born in Puerto Rico, suddenly turned bizarre. So this, of course, is the people in Ohio, the abductions that were there for like almost a decade. It says, Ariel was in my garage probably 5 or 6 years ago. We were recording a song, an idea that we had. It says here that, and you know you're going to laugh when he said he was in the CIA. And I don't know if he was joking or not, but it's the way he said it, how serious he said it. I didn't know what he was capable of. That just put me on the defense, and I just started stepping away, says Papa. 45-year-old father of 6 who said he's known Castro brothers since childhood. Emily Castro, 25, is serving 25 years in an Indiana prison on attempted murder for slashing the throat of her 11-year-old daughter in 2007. Home owned by Saudi government near CIA raided for possible human trafficking. Immigration officials have removed 2 domestic workers from a Northern Virginia home owned by the government of Saudi Arabia as part of an investigation into a report of human trafficking. So I wonder if this was maybe possibly part of this human trafficking by the government. Who knows? Cleveland police digging for bodies of possible aborted babies from women captive for a decade. Police in Cleveland are searching a property for possible aborted babies after finding 3 women who had been kidnapped and held as sex slaves for a decade or more. It says investigators say the dirt in the backyard appeared to have been disturbed. Police believe the women have been pregnant as many as 5 times, but only found 1 child on the premises. So there's a 10-year search. It took them 10 years to find it. And it basically ended with a neighbor who heard the screams through the door. So, I mean, it just goes to show you what's going on with the fabric of our society. Mothers, slitting the throats of their 11-month-old, something like this going on and nobody knowing in the community. It's insane. Obama admits PIA's charge of CIA human trafficking. Reuters, after interviewing President Isaias Afwerki in 2008, it runs a story with a headline reading, "The Eritrean leader blames CIA plot for youth exodus." The Reuters report went on by saying that Eritrea accused the CIA and other Western agencies on Tuesday of luring young people away from the Red Sea state in a plot to weaken the nation seen as a threat to U.S. interests in the region. Again, your interest, my interest? No, we have no interest. We're talking about global corporations that claim U.S. Tax status, which then, of course, they don't even pay taxes. It is an orchestrated, organized operation financed by the CIA, says the president. Says we have evidence, we know what's going on in terms of tempting people, trying to facilitate them to cross the border. Police say U.S. Navy petty officer arrested in California for pimping 17-year-old girl. So the petty officer stationed in California is charged with sexually assaulting a 17-year-old girl and forcing her to have sex with multiple men. According to the Fresno Bee, the 32-year-old was arrested April 17th. Apparently, he had met the teenager on a social networking site. Air Force's Sexual Assault Prevention Chief arrested for sexual assault. It says here that the Pentagon is scheduled to release new figures showing a continuing rise in sexual assaults in the military, 6% increase from basically 2012 to previous years. Sergeant who killed 5 troops at Baghdad clinic grew paranoid in weeks leading up to slayings. So the Sergeant John Russell grew increasingly paranoid in the days before he killed 5 fellow U.S. service members in Baghdad at a Baghdad combat stress clinic. Soldiers who knew him testified today. So he believed that his unit was trying to kick him out of the army, was one of the reasons his commander referred him to counseling instead of disciplining him. Talking about counseling and stuff like that, I remember that article that I covered a while back about the anti-suicide or suicide prevention classes, and the guy that was partaking in part of it as a, what do they call it, a concerned friend or something like that. What did he do? He went into his truck and killed himself, and they said the guy had no problems, no financial issues, no marital issues, nothing. Almost like it promoted it. Much like this really early preschool sexual education promoting it. Facebook page promoting, even the stuff about rape out in India and all that, like, I think they do that to not just keep people in fear, but also to get that idea out there to promote it. Just part of programming. I mean, that one girl that was like literally jumped out of a hotel room. Facebook page because people were knocking on her door. Facebook page promoting violence against female Marines reappears mocking Congress. Facebook page that glorified violence against women in the military was shut down. It said many of the pictures imply women only advance professionally by performing sexual favors and otherwise promote the idea that women are inferior and only useful as sexual objects and sandwich makers. It says the military cannot eradicate sexual assault without fundamentally changing its approach by not having women in there. No, it's including its tolerance of participation in these kinds of websites. So again, this is what I believe they were put there for. They were put there to be basically sex objects for other military members, mostly male-dominated. As prostitutes, basically. And I've talked about this personally. I would say about 80% of the females that I encountered or knew while I was in the Marine Corps moved up and advanced faster than they did their male counterparts, and they were usually lazy and didn't carry their weight, and they did use their womanhood to advance. I saw it. So, I mean, people could say that, oh, that's just being intolerant, Darko, but whatever. It's, for the most part, I mean, unless you're in like in a very defensive position to be in, where your whole culture is under attack, I really don't see women being in combat roles. They shouldn't be in the military. That's my own personal belief. This is promoted because it does anything. Whether it's the mixing of bloodlines and races and multiculturalism, female leaders for everything now, and they promote that. Whatever turns the old order or the old way of our society functioning, turning it completely opposite and creating all this chaos, it's just another way of controlling people, controlling masses of people. U.S. to announce $100 million more aid for Syrian refugees. We're just talking about creating refugees, mixing the bloodlines, creating chaos. This is what it's all about. U.S. plans to provide an additional $100 million in aid to Syrian refugees that have fled the nation to camps in neighboring Jordan, Turkey, and Lebanon. 108 Morris goes over this concept a lot in depth, and I agree with him completely about the creating refugees and getting open immigration and diluting whatever culture was there. This is for political control of the entire planet. It's when you're always